Hi children, welcome to ICT Learning. So this is the second part of grade 8 chapter 4. So if you haven't watched my previous videos for grade 8, I have done separate videos for grade 8 chapter 1, 2, 3, and for chapter 4 there's a one part where I'm talking about how to do the problem analysis and about sequence and selection control structures. The basic understanding was given. So in here, we are talking about selection control structures with Scratch development. So Scratch was initially introduced in grade 7. So if you haven't watched that video, please go and watch the Scratch basics because it will be really helpful to understand. So here I'm using Scratch 3.18, the latest version currently, but in your book they have been used Scratch 2 version 2. So sometimes the UIs and some blocks may be in different categories, but don't worry, it's the same concept. So that's why I asked first go and watch my grade 7 videos for Scratch programming and then come back here so you won't feel it difficult. So within 1 or 2 hours you can finish that off and come back here so it will be great, right? Yes. So as we discussed in grade 7, Scratch is an open source visual programming language, right? We can do a lot of things like animations and very interactive stories can be developed. So it's very interesting thing because graphically we can do programming, right? So basic knowledge was given in grade 7. That's why I asked, please go and watch that one first. So here we are basically talking about if then block, right? Basically, if then means this is a actually here we are doing the selection control structure. So for to select something, you need a condition. So in this block, basically you have a if condition with some condition, right? So for example, if this condition is true only, if it is satisfied only, these instructions here will be executed. Understood? And there's another thing, if then else block, right? Similar to the earlier one, you put the condition here. So this will be happen when the condition is satisfied. That means true part. If the condition is true, this first part will be happen. Else, if the instructions are executed only if the condition is not satisfied. Hopefully you understand, right? For example, here if the number is greater than 10, we print this is greater than 10, right? In here, if the number is greater than 10, we print the number is greater than 10, else we print the number is less than 10, right? Very simple thing. So then we talk about the comparison blocks, right? So these comparison blocks will be used to compare two values, right? For example, this one, first one, it will check the value on the left is smaller than this one. So the result will be true or false, right? For example, 1 is less than 2, true. It's a true condition. 1 is less than 2, right? But 2 less than 1, is it true? No. So that is why the result is false. These are normally in programming, we call them as booleans. Yes, no, true, false, 1, 0. Those are the values they can have. So here they check the values are equal, whether right side and the left side are having the same value. For example, 2 equal 2 is true, right? But 1, does 1 equals to 2? No, it's false, right? Next condition is this is the greater than thing comparison. So it is checking whether the value on the left is greater than the right side. For example, 2 is greater than 1. Yes, it's true. But 1 greater than 2? No, it's not true, it's false. Okay. Then comes the logical blocks, right? So in the logical blocks, we learn about and, or, not, right? Maybe a bit new for you, but don't worry. These are the basics in computer studies. So even you do a degree, initially you will learn these things. So better to get this into your head at this time itself. So AND operation means you have two conditions, right? Both conditions in the left and the right should be true. If both are true only, it's becoming true. Understood? Both the condition should be true, right? For example, 2 is less than 4. Yes, this is true. 2 is equal to 2. Yes, it's also true. So true and true, then it's true. We'll see this one. 2 is less than 4. Yeah, it's true. And 2 is equal to 4. No, it's false. So true and false, it is false. If you get false and true or true and false, all these three occasions, it is false. Only this is becoming true when the both conditions are true. True and true is going to be true. Understood? Yeah. Then we are going to talk about O. O is different. So O will become true in three scenarios. One thing is if one of the expression is correct or true, it is becoming true. If both are also true, then it's also true. Understand? Now we'll see the first one. 2 is less than 4. Yeah, it's true. And O, 2 is equal to 4. This is false, but at least one condition is true here. So therefore, this is becoming true. For example, you think another scenario like this with the operation 2 less than 4. This is true. Or 2 equals to 2. This is also true. So true or true is also true. That means if either one condition is true, the whole thing will become true. Or if both conditions are true, then also operation will give a true result. But both are not correct, then it is false. For example, 2 is less than 2. No, it's false. 2 is equal to 4. No, that's also false. So false or false is false. For AND operation, both conditions should be true. For O operation, it will become false only if both are both conditions are false. In other three scenarios, it is giving the true result. And then comes the NOT operation, right? So NOT operation, the expression becomes if this condition is false, with NOT, it will become true. Okay, NOT means like kind of a negation it happens. So if the condition or the expression is true, the result will be false. For example, 2 is equal to 4. This is false, but with NOT, it becomes true. 2 is less than 4. This is what? Yes, true. But with the not operation, it is becoming false. So now we are going to do a development of Scratch um, programming, right? First of all, let me explain the concept for you. It will be very easy to understand, right? So here they want to display the current balance uh, of a bank account after you withdraw money. They have to show the balance, right? So when you withdraw money, definitely the bank also will be checking whether your current balance is enough to give the relevant balance. Otherwise, they cannot give you the relevant balance, right? Because it should have the enough money in your account to get the money, right? So we'll quickly go through the flow chart, then you can understand it very easily, right? Flow chart, if you see, you may remember, right? Flow charts we discussed in grade 7 also. So you start, you get the balance like we assign the balance to 5,000. Then you input amount to withdraw. You're asking from the customer how much you need, right? So if the balance is more than the amount you request, that means in your bank account you don't have enough money. If the amount is greater than amount requested, so if it is true only, you can get money, right? So then we have to do a calculation. Your new balance will be changed because from the current balance, it will be reducing the amount you are withdrawing. So new balance will be displayed. No, that means your balance is like, I don't know, it's about 10 rupees and you are going to withdraw 100 rupees. So this is not going to work. So no condition will end the process, right? Understood? So yeah, we'll quickly go to Scratch and we'll try to develop this, right? So all the programs were starting from this, right? It is in the events you put this one. When the flag is clicked only, this should be happen. That's the idea of this, right? Then you go to variables and you declare a variable, kind of like we can tell the name can be balance. I told you when you are naming your variables, you have to always try to give very meaningful idea, right? So then you tell set the balance to any value. As the book is telling it's about 5,000, we'll tell the balance is 5,000. And then under the looks, we have, sorry, under the sensing, we have ask thing. So ask from the user what we are going to ask the amount requested, right? So we can ask enter the amount requested. So we are asking them to um, enter the amount you need, right? Then in the variables, you set that particular value to here, right? We have to have another variable called amount requested. Always give meaningful names, not like ABC like that. So this amount requested variable should have this answer, right? So answers are also here. From the sensing, we can take this particular answer given to this question to this variable, right? Then we have to have the block. So we should have only here if block, right? Not else part. So if, then we have to put the condition, the greater than condition, right? So if, what should happen? The balance, the variable balance, right, should be greater than this. Then only you can get some money, right? Then at that time, you have to calculate the new balance, right? So your new balance will be equal to another thing. So you have to take operator from here. Always make sure this circle is like, see, then only you can enter this, right? So your new balance will be equal to the difference between balance, sorry. So you take this and see, now only you have to put balance minus amount you requested. So this is your new balance. Okay. And then you print something, right? Then you print like this. Say, always remember in grade 7 also we use this join, right? To print it. So we put a join and we tell uh, anything you want to tell, balance is or balance equals to something like that. Balance equals to our new variable balance. So this will be displayed for sometimes. We'll increase the time for you to see. Okay. So now I'm clicking this, enter the amount requested. So if I put around 2000, okay, balance is 3000, no issues. But if I put something more, right, than the 5000, like 7000, that won't be printing anything. Why? This condition is becoming false and there's no any else part, just it stay, like nothing will happen. Understood or not? Okay. Yeah, then example 2. So here they want to display whether in number is a odd or even number. Odd or even before that, they have explained you what is a mod operation. You may know addition, subtraction, division, those operations you may know, mathematical operators you may know. But what is mod? Mod is when you divide some number with another number and you will get a remainder. So this remainder we call as mod, right? For example, here now this number 13 is divided by 5 and you get a remainder as 3. So this is 13 mod 5. 13 is divided by 5 and remainder is 3. So this is how it happens. So how to get whether a number is odd or even? You have to take a number and divide by 2 and you have to check whether the remainder is 0 or 1. So if the remainder is 0, it is even number. For example, 4. Number 4 you divide by 2. Nothing is there for remainder, right? So remainder is 0. So that means 4 is an even number. You take 5. 5 divided by 2. Remainder is 1. So that means it's an odd number because there is a remainder. Understood? The same thing they are using in this concept. You start, you get the number, right? And you get that number and you do the mod operation with number 2, right? Then you get a remainder. So if the remainder is 0, that means it's an even number. If the remainder is not 0, that means if the remainder is 1, then it's an odd number. So you display results accordingly. Anything as a problem? No, right? So this is very clear, the mod operation and how we are going to decide uh, whether this is an even or odd number. Okay, shall we start again then? We go for events and we take the usual thing, right? And then you want to ask from the user to enter your number because that is the number you are going to check, right? Enter the number, right? And then from the variables, you have to have a new variable, right? Like kind of number. And we'll have another variable as the remainder for the remainder as rem. Okay, then what you do is you set this number, right? So the user will enter a number. That number will be assigned to your variable, right? So we'll take the answer and we'll assign that here, right? Then you will calculate your remainder, right? So remainder will be equal to the mod value, right? So we'll find where's the mod. Here is the mod under operators. So what you have to do is you have to take your number variable and you have to do, sorry, you have to take your number variable and you have to do mod operator with number 2. Then you have to do your control structure should be taken. It's in if and else. So if, what is the condition? If rem or the remainder, if remainder is equal to 0, right? If your remainder is equal to 0, right? Then what is this? Right? This is a, you can just for some time or just you can tell. So if the remainder is 0, that means this is a even number, right? But if it's not, that means if the remainder is 1, not 0, right? Then you can tell this is a odd number. Understood? So we'll do and see. So you are entering number, we'll think I am putting this 17. 17 is odd number. Odd number. Okay. And if I do something very big, anyway 9. So that's a odd number, right? In maths, you know how to tell odd or even, right? You divide this number and decide whether this is odd or not, right? So here you can see 9, 9. So that means the remainder there will be 1, right? So this should be a odd number. Understood? Okay. The third example is it is checking whether the password is having more numbers, right? Because if normally to have a strong password, there are things you have to worry. Basically, the length should be more than 8. Other than that, it should have caps, capitals, simples, special symbols, numbers like that. Better to have a mixture of all these characters. So this is basically checking whether your password is having characters more than 8, right? If it is less than 8, we display that this is a, if it's less than 8, we display the password is weak, right? But if it's more than 8, we display this is a very strong password. Okay, we'll see how it works. Okay, similar to the previous ones, we'll get the events and we'll get when flag is clicked. Right, then we are going to get some input from the user. Right, we can tell something like enter the password. Enter the password. Right, then we'll create a new variable call something like number of characters. Okay, so we get this variable and so number of characters. So the answer should not only equal to this, we have to take the length of the answer, right? So here there's something called of length of and you have to get the answer and get the length of that particular answer, right? So then you have again if blocks, right? If else. So the first condition is you check whether uh, it's less than 8, right? So you have to take the operator, right? And your number of character value. So here the number of character values should be less than 8, right? So if that is true, then you uh, tell this is a weak password. That means it's not good. But if the length of the character set is more than 8, we tell it's a strong password. Okay, we'll do and see. Okay, I'm telling this is not anyway strong password, but as the character number is more than 8, it's telling strong password. But if I just put ABC or something like that, it's only 3 characters, so it's telling it's a weak password. Sorry, my spellings are wrong here. Okay, it's a weak password. Got it? So this one is for snakes and ladders, right? Hope you know that game, right? I will first explain this, so it will be easy for you to develop the program. So first thing is you click the normal start. When the flag is clicked, only the program starts. So then you ask the user to toss the dice, and then you get the input. What is the face value, right? And you get that face value and copy to the answer, right? Then you print Now you have some value, for example, maybe your space value is 5. So based on 5, move your counter. There may be a small element on your board, right? So move that element, move that counter until that. So if after you move the counter, did this counter land on top of on the bottom of the ladder? If so, you can climb up. So if yes, you can move the counter, right? But bad thing is, did the counter land on a head of a snake? Yes. So then you have to come down, right? So that is the basic snakes and ladder game, right? Okay, as the first thing, events, you to take this one, right? Then you um, under looks only this say thing is there, not like in the earlier version. So I forgot to tell you that. So you toss the dice, but in chap grade 4, grade 7, I have explained this, right? Toss the dice, right? Then you take the user input, right? You ask from the user, what is the value of the upward face of the dice, right? So then you create a new variable, right? We called something like value, what you get on your dice, right? So you set this dice value based on your answer, right? Then you say you have to move your counter, right? So you can tell something with the join operator. We always use the join to print something, right? So we'll tell join you have to move your value, right? So you can tell move the counter forward, not the dice. You're moving the you have to move the counter, right? Then you ask again, where is your counter, right? You have to ask it from the user because that's how you have to program this. So you're asking, did it land at the bottom of a ladder? Then you're lucky, right? Right? If so, then it's a condition, right? So only if is needed, right? Right. So if the answer is yes, right? If the answer is yes, so you have to give the this way itself. That means Y capital like that. Okay. Otherwise, it will not take this as a yes. Okay. We'll see when you're doing. Um, so then you have to stop this particular script. This is the end of the program, right? Okay. Then we'll ask again whether it's land on a snake. Did it or did the counter? Here also better to tell did the count, otherwise it's a bit confusing. Did count, did the counter. So here also we'll ask, did the counter land on the head of the the snake. You're asking a question. So here also you're asking a question, right? Then we have to have again a control structure for. So here also we are doing the same thing, right? We check whether my answer, sorry, whether my answer is equal to yes, right? Then I have to tell something here, right? Before stopping the script, I miss it. So you have to tell the user move the counter up to the top of the ladder. Because if it's yes, if you are in the bottom of the ladder, you have to move up. If you are on the head of the snake, you have to slide down. Okay. Shall we do this and see? Okay, we'll try this. So we'll start it, toss the dice, right? And what's the value? We'll tell 4. So if 4 moves will be happen, then we'll tell yes, I got bottom of a ladder. Then they ask him move the counter from the bottom to top. We'll put no there and say 4 is my value. Move the counter. This is no. Then they're asking whether the counter lands on the head of the snake. So if I put yes, it will slide down, right? I put no for both. No, no. So nothing is printed. Understood? So no, yes, that answer can be given without worrying the caps. So it's not checking the exact value, but just check it can be given lowercase or uppercase or mixture of it. No problem. Okay, so for this part, I will do a separate video because it's a separate part, so not the scratch part. So will be the third video for this. Thank you very much. So if you haven't subscribed my channel, please go and subscribe and press the bell notification also so you will get all the notifications. And please do comment, please ask questions, or it's really helpful for me.